Hello, I'm Paul Fletcher, Arts Minister for the Commonwealth of Australia, and I'm very pleased to have the chance to offer this message to participants at the Edinburgh International Cultural Summit 2020, convened by Sir Jonathan Mills, who is a hybrid Brit and Australian. And of course, culture is so important to notions of national identity. Here in Australia in 2020, we're very alive to that because this is the 250th anniversary of Captain Cook's voyage along the east coast of Australia, setting in train a series of events which ultimately led to the establishment of modern Australia. In our events acknowledging this 250th anniversary, we've sought to reflect both the view from the ship and the view from the shore, recognising the very significant impact this voyage had and the events which followed from it on Australia's Indigenous people. And Indigenous people, of course, representatives of a culture that's been here for more than 60,000 years. And so the role of arts and culture in articulating a national identity is something that's particularly topical in 2020 in Australia as we think about the appropriate involvement of an understanding of Indigenous Australia in that overall sense of our national identity. It's one of the ways in which there's been very big change since 1970 when the 200th anniversary was marked. And of course, Indigenous art, Indigenous culture is one of the powerful elements of our contemporary national identity. And for people in every country, the arts and culture play such an important role in defining a national identity. Now, 2020, of course, is also the year of COVID, and it's presented enormous challenges for performers, for arts organisations, for audiences all around the world. Right now in Australia, most theatres are dark. There are a few operating with social distancing. Some galleries and museums have reopened, but nevertheless, activity levels are a long way below where they need to be. And our government, as with many other governments around the world, has been providing targeted support to seek to encourage arts activity and, more importantly, to prepare the way for a return to more normal levels of activity. We've committed $250 million in a package that has a number of elements, including $75 million in what we're calling the RISE grants, which are designed to stimulate and contribute to the funding of new events and new productions. So in Australia and globally, our arts and cultural activities presented with real challenges, but I have been struck by the vibrancy and the determination and the ingenuity of our artists, our performers. And indeed, just on Saturday night, I was privileged to view a performance as one of the few people physically present, but it was being distributed around Australia through what's called the Melbourne Digital Concert Hall, one of a number of initiatives to encourage artists to continue to be able to perform and, importantly, to be remunerated for that in these difficult times. And that brings me to the last thing I wanted to mention in this message, which is the role of the arts and culture in boosting national mood and boosting morale, but also, very importantly, in helping us interpret, understand, make sense of the things that are happening to us. And we can all think of many great works of art produced in response to traumatic or challenging events. Picasso's Guernica, for example, is just one of many examples that comes to mind. I have no doubt that this COVID pandemic, amongst its consequences, will result in a dividend, an artistic dividend, as works are created to seek to understand, to interpret what we are all going through. So can I extend my best wishes to all participating in the Edinburgh International Cultural Summit. More than ever, there are very important issues to engage with, and I know that all participants will have a shared determination that we're going to come through this and we're going to see a flourishing, a rebirth, a renaissance of artistic and cultural activity in the future.